At the class reunion, my ex-girlfriend sneered at the ring on my finger. Bring your wife around sometime. Let me see what kind of woman you like. I smiled. She's overseas. At our class reunion at 30, Mikai stood out amid classmates who had put on weight, and she was impossible to miss. Though I sat in the farthest corner from her, she spotted me at once. The moment our eyes met, an inexplicable panic rose in me. I looked at the face that had shed its girlish innocence, both familiar and strangely unfamiliar, and it felt like a lifetime had passed. 8 years, and we had met again. It had all happened so suddenly. She looked at the ring on my finger, her smile casual and untroubled. Yun Mo, are you married? I lowered my eyes and said nothing. Our classmates began teasing us. You're our class's only remaining eligible bachelorette, Miss Me. But we heard you're marrying some big shot, son. Congratulations in advance. After a round of drinks and small talk, someone in the crowd remarked, Yun Mo, if you hadn't broken up back then, you'd be that wealthy family's prized son-in-law by now. That's right. Don't you regret it? After a brief silence, everyone turned to look at me. I swallowed the bitterness in my heart and smiled as if it meant nothing. We were young and foolish back then. It was all just fooling around. Mikai gently swirled her wine glass. As her gaze passed over me, a teasing smile tugged at her lips. Bring your wife around sometime. Let me see what kind of woman you like. She smiled mockingly. I fought back my humiliation, but I did not know what to say. After all, I was the one who dumped her. My reason was, you're not my type. Years had passed since we parted. Even in my dreams over the years, she had rarely appeared. I thought Mikai and I were finished for good. Everyone watched with eager amusement. Yun Mo, when did you get married? Why didn't you tell any of us? And you've never posted your wife on social media, keeping her that well hidden? Don't tell me she's old and ugly. Too embarrassing to show off. I clenched my fist. My nails dug into my palms, sending faint stabs of pain through me. I took a breath. She's overseas. They all looked smugly delighted, like spectators enjoying a show. Everyone knew that when Mikai and I broke up, it had ended badly. She waited below my dorm all night, begging me to take her back, but I hardened my heart and refused to see her. But now, she had returned successful and accomplished. It was a silent slap in my face. Naturally, they wanted to curry favor with her and rub salt in the wound. We heard Mikai bought the company Yun Mo works for. She's your boss now. You'd better impress her. The crowd immediately egged me on. Manager Yun, shouldn't you toast President Me? Amid their jeers, I rose to my feet, filled my glass, and drained it in one gulp. The alcohol began to go to my head. My eyes reddened. President Me, I hope you'll look after me. Mikai gave a non-committal little laugh. Naturally. After all, Manager Yun and I are so close personally. She placed particular emphasis on the word close, meeting her unreadable eyes. My heart suddenly tightened. Excuse me. I need to use the restroom. Using that excuse, I slipped out of the private room. I let the icy water from the restroom faucet run over my hands. When I looked up, I stared blankly at my 30-year-old reflection. Look at Fang Yuan. He still looks like he's in his early 20s. That body, that face. No wonder he had Mikai so crazy about him back then. From the restroom next door, I heard a few people chatting and laughing. Oh, please. Who knows if he's really married? He's 30 and doesn't even have a kid. He's never shown off a wife either. I bet he's probably some rich woman's side piece. I saw it myself. He drives an Audi A6. I heard he even bought a place downtown. How could a poor nobody like him afford all that? Then that rich woman must not be all that wealthy. If he'd stayed with Mikai back then, he'd have gone from rags to riches by now. Give me a break. With a background like his, he's done pretty well for himself. As if the Mi family would ever have looked twice at him. True, I really don't know how those two ever got together. And Fang Yuan was the one who dumped Mikai. He must regret it bitterly now. I gave a bitter smile and quietly walked out of the restroom. Did I regret it? I asked myself. I didn't regret it, did I? You have to let go of what you cannot hold on to. I always knew Mikai would achieve what she had today. She had always shone brightly. 10 years ago or 10 years later, she lived the life everyone envied. At 18, she was the wealthy campus beauty. At 30, she was a PhD returning home in glory from abroad, while everyone else studied through the night for college entrance exams. Her parents had already paved her way to an elite university overseas, while I was thrilled to buy a small apartment in this crowded city and earn an annual salary of 500,000 yuan. She was already a young entrepreneur worth over 100 million yuan. She owned several luxury villas. If 10 years ago, Mikai had been the woman of my dreams, then now, she was an impossible fantasy beyond my reach. I never thought we would meet again. After all these years, she had been abroad. She had never attended a class reunion, and I never expected the daughter of Chairman Shang, whose group had acquired my company, to be Mikai. My ex had suddenly become my boss. Thinking of my monthly mortgage and car payments, I forcibly suppressed the urge to write my resignation. Forget it. I would take it one step at a time. We had been broken up for 8 years. Maybe she had stopped caring long ago. I took out my phone and booked a designated driver online. When I stepped outside, the bitter winter wind blew in, bringing a piercing chill across my forehead. I stamped my feet and pulled my coat tighter around myself, but no driver accepted my request. Then a blue Rolls-Royce Phantom slowly pulled up outside. The driver got out and opened the rear door. Respectfully, he said, "President Shang." Only then did I see Mikai approaching from behind. Her couture dress traced her perfect figure. She exuded effortless, aristocratic elegance. She gave me an almost indifferent glance, then raised her wrist to check the time. Her tone was utterly flat. "I'll give you a ride home." I quickly declined. "This place is too out of the way." "Thanks, but no." "What's wrong, Fang Yuan? Are you afraid I still have feelings for you? It's been 8 years. Do you think I would stoop so low for a married man as to become his mistress for love?" The corner of her lips curved up, and a faint smile touched her cold eyes. "Give me a company briefing on the way. Keep refusing, and you're only making this awkward." I got into the car awkwardly. "President Shang, I manage Project Division 2. The project department currently has 3 divisions. We expect to add a new team after the new year. President Fang currently oversees most of the company." Mikai replied evenly. "Division 2 was established 3 years ago. It currently ranks first in performance. We'll keep up the good work next year." She still showed no reaction. "Tomorrow, I'll send you a detailed work report," I added quietly. Mikai said nothing. After a long silence, she suddenly asked, "This year's Health and Culture Festival, you planned it?" Another long silence followed. "I'm planning personnel changes at the company." "What do you think?" "Manager Fang, the company has been acquired by a publicly listed group. Naturally, that gives the company greater prestige. But some are happy, while others are worried. The good news is, the employees' room for growth goes without saying. The worry is the rumored personnel restructuring. Many people fear being laid off. Management's decisions are naturally well considered, as long as it benefits the company's growth. We employees only need to cooperate and carry it out." I could only bite the bullet and answer. Her gaze darkened slightly. Then she gave a casual, quiet laugh. "You are different now. Even your words have become so polished." Suppressing the emotions inside me, I replied evenly, "People grow up. President Shang has grown much more mature too." She turned her head, her eyes narrowing slightly. A low laugh rippled through the stifling atmosphere, as though she were laughing at how I had changed over the years. Yes, I had changed so much. I had learned to walk with my head held high, to shine with confidence, to bend myself to please others, and to navigate the world with polished ease. I was no longer insecure, nor was I poor, but Shang Xinqi's unreadable laugh instantly brought back those years when I had been low as dirt. I had never met my birth mother. They said that after giving birth to me, she left because our family was too poor. My father did not want me either. He simply dumped me on my grandmother and ran off to fool around with other women. Later, he piled up debts, was caught committing robbery, and ended up in prison. All those years, my grandmother raised me by collecting recyclables. Someone like me was born in the mud and grew up in the mud. But Shang Xinqi was different. She was like a cloud in the sky. We were worlds apart. Our paths should never have crossed. The first time I met Shang Xinqi, I was 16. My grandmother and I were collecting recyclables beside her family's villa. My shoes were coming apart at the seams, and my school uniform hung loosely on me. I timidly followed behind my grandmother. Seeing how pitiful we looked, Shang Xinqi's mother called into the yard. "Do we have any unwanted cardboard boxes or plastic bottles left? Bring them down, quickly." At that moment, she wore a white dress, her hair still damp. As she jogged over, she looked like the heroine from a comic book. She handed me several cardboard boxes. I took them in a panic and quickly lowered my head. When I saw my broken shoes and faded uniform, my face burned with shame. "Thank you. Wait here. There is more. I'll get it for you." Then she suddenly ran off again. Shang Xinqi's mother seemed to see my embarrassment. She kindly stroked my hair. "Young man, study hard. Your life will keep getting better." My eyes instantly welled with tears. But Mikai soon returned, carrying down a huge pile of boxes and bottles. I was deeply moved then, but also terribly ashamed. From that moment, I secretly swore that I would study with everything I had and change my life. I dreamed that, perhaps, by 30, I too could live in a house this grand. Reality always makes you see the truth. Back then, I had been too foolish and naive. Especially now, sitting in Mikai's luxury car, gazing at its glittering deep blue starlight ceiling, I understood it even more clearly. No matter how fast a train goes, it can never match a plane. We were both 30. I drove an Audi A6. She drove a Rolls Royce. I wore a Longines. She wore a Patek Philippe. At 18, I had naively believed that all roads lead to Rome. What I did not know was, some people are born in Rome. You can struggle for half your life and only reach Rome's outskirts, while they have merely moved from an outer district to the inner city. "Mr. Fang, we have arrived at your home." The driver's reminder pulled me back from my thoughts. "Thank you for the ride, President Shang. It's too late to invite you upstairs." I put on my professional smile and thanked her politely. "Manager Fang, your wife keeps you on a pretty tight leash, doesn't she?" Mikai curled her lips in a mocking smile as she teased me. I was at a loss for words. Not knowing what to say, I only murmured, "Goodbye, President Shang." The moment I opened the car door, a cold wind slipped inside. "All these years, have you been well?" Mikai's cool voice came with the winter wind and drifted into my ear. For some reason, those simple words, "Have you been well?" nearly shattered the emotions I had held back all day. Holding back the tears in my eyes, I replied flatly, "I've been fine." I reached out and pushed the door fully open. I drew a deep breath and stepped out of the car. As I shut the door, I turned, and our gazes locked. I looked at her face, and my heart suddenly gave a heavy jolt. "Does she treat you well?" Mikai asked hoarsely. "She does." "That's good." I swallowed the ache in my heart and nearly twisted my ankle in my panic. I lifted my foot to leave, but her voice sounded behind me again. "Fang Yuan, aren't you going to ask how I've been all these years?" Ignoring the ache in my ankle, I slowly turned around. I faced Mikai's face, the one that had appeared in my dreams countless times. A phrase suddenly came to mind. One glance felt like a lifetime. "Mikai, have you been well all these years?" Backlit by the light, she gave a faint smile. "Good and bad." Her deep eyes settled on me, and one corner of her mouth lifted slightly. "I'm getting married. Will you wish me well?" "Of course. I wish you a happy marriage and a lifetime together." I forced a smile, pretending to be completely calm. "Mikai, then I hope you and I both find a happy ending." A mist of tears clouded my eyes. Mikai's backlit silhouette grew ever more blurred. The moment I turned away, I could no longer hold my emotions together. 8 years. I had clearly moved on. So why were my emotions still so fragile? Had I known it would haunt my heart like this, we would have been better off never meeting. That brief time together, was it a gift or a punishment? That love in our youth that ended without resolution was deeply felt, but painfully brief and full of regret. During my final year of high school, a new student transferred into our class. She stood at the front to introduce herself. Boys around the room murmured, "She's so beautiful." I secretly looked up at her. She seemed a little taller than she had been 2 years earlier. The teacher asked where she wanted to sit. She said she hoped to sit beside someone who did well in school and did not talk much. So, she became my desk mate. I felt no joy or excitement, only nervous, awkwardness, even humiliation. At that moment, I was terrified she would recognize me, that boy who collected trash outside her family's villa. "Hi, my name is Mikai. Nice to meet you, desk mate." Embarrassed, I lowered my head and said shyly, "Hello, my name is Fang Yuan." Seeing that, she gave a faint smile. "Hi there." From then on, she always liked talking to me. "What are your hobbies? What do you like to eat? Are there any songs you like?" "Fang Yuan, how are you so good at school?" Most of the time, she would keep talking beside me, while I kept my head down in silence. Mikai had a wonderful personality. She was polite to everyone, and utterly charming. Before long, she became the object of many boys' crushes. Many boys asked me to pass their love letters to her. Insecure and slow to warm up, I had to steel myself for ages before daring to give them to her, as if I were the one who had written them. Mikai. This is a letter from Rice Cooker. But she said, but I already like someone. Oh, when will the person I like write me a love letter? She sighed to herself, then suddenly turned to look at me. Fang Yuan, if you wrote a love letter to someone you liked, what would you write? My face instantly turned red. In the end, I stammered softly to remind her. Mikai, high school students aren't supposed to date. She burst out laughing. Then we'll wait until graduation. Her smile was dazzling, and she could not resist teasing me again. Why are you blushing? Do you have someone you like? I could only pretend to read, though my heart was already in complete turmoil. No. That night, before bed, I thought about that question for a long time. If I confessed to the person I liked, what would I write in a love letter to her? I thought of Xu Ting's poem, To the Oak. If I love you, I will never be a clinging trumpet vine, showing myself off from your lofty branches. If I love you, I will never be a lovesick bird, repeating the same dull song for your shade. I must be a kapok tree beside you, standing with you, tree beside tree. You have your bronze branches and iron trunk, like knives, like swords, like halberds too. I have my great crimson blossoms, like heavy sighs, and like brave torches. What I wanted was a love where we stood side by side, independent, yet deeply devoted to each other. But back then, I was trapped in the mire of my family. I was far too insignificant. Poverty, timidity, and inferiority made me unable to hold my head high. A pair of clearance canvas shoes for 25 yuan in the wrong size. I wore them for 2 years. They were a size 42, but my feet were a size 43. When the soles came apart, I glued them back with super glue. When the canvas yellowed, I secretly covered it with white chalk. Whenever I passed the brand new sneakers in the mall, again and again, I would steal one longing glance after another. That pair cost 88 yuan. They were not a name brand, but they were new. They would fit perfectly and make running feel easy. But 88 yuan meant grandma would have to collect recyclables for a long time. Her legs were weak. Whenever I saw her walk with a hand braced against her back, I forced down my own desire for things. Until those shoes were bought by a mother for her child. Smiling gently, she helped the child put on the new shoes, pressing the toes to ask if they pinched. I thought, if I had a mother, would she treat me like that too? But sadly, I had never seen her. In gym class, the teacher required everyone to wear sneakers. I was the only one who did not have any. When the teacher saw my shoes, she was clearly displeased. Didn't I tell you all to wear sneakers? How can you run in those shoes? Under everyone's gaze, I lowered my head as far as it would go. I could only lie and say I had forgotten. Then, one day after school, Mikai suddenly sprang out from behind me and shouted, Fang Yuan, happy birthday. She smiled, flashing her white teeth. Her ponytail swayed, catching the last rays of sunset and gleaming gold. Surprised, did you see that coming? I secretly looked at your ID card, so I knew today was your birthday. I was stunned and did not know what to do. Here, a birthday gift. She produced a shopping bag from behind her back and pressed it into my hands. Don't turn your nose up at them. The shoes were free. A buy one get one deal. She lifted one foot. She was wearing a brand new pair of white sneakers. I opened the box. Inside was an identical pair in black. That brand was expensive. Only upscale malls carried it. Thank you. But, Mikai, I can't accept this. What's wrong? Is it because they were free? I explained in a flustered whisper. No, these shoes are too expensive. I really can't accept them. They really didn't cost anything. Look, she took out the receipt and showed me where it said 0 yuan. I'm sorry, but I really can't accept them. I kept refusing. Finally, she got a little upset. Fang Yuan, we've been desk mates for so long. Don't you consider me a friend? That's not it, I hurriedly explained. Her voice softened again. These shoes aren't simply a gift. Consider them my gift for asking you to teach me. I need to take the test of English as a foreign language, but my English is awful. If I fail, my mom will tear me apart. Please help me. When I lowered my head without speaking, she circled around me. Please, Fang Yuan. Private tutors charge 100 yuan an hour. I'm the one getting a bargain here. I didn't know how to respond, but she cut me off. All right, then it's settled. That day, she smoothed my hair, half comforting me, half encouraging me. She told me, Fang Yuan, things will keep getting better. I remembered standing outside her family's villa 2 years earlier. Shang Xinqi's mother had done the same. She had stroked my head and said, "Young man, study hard. Your life will get better and better." They were both such gentle people. They saw through my hardship, yet still protected my fragile pride. That day, Shang Xinqi stood beneath a sky awash with blazing sunset clouds. Backlit, she looked especially beautiful. I walked along with my backpack, facing me. As she walked backward, "Fang Yuan, buy me a pair of glass slippers someday." Beneath the scarlet sunset, Shang Xinqi herself seemed to glow. She was a princess in glass slippers, but I was no prince. After that, every day after school, I gave Shang Xinqi an hour of English tutoring. Her grades were good, and she was quick-witted. She grasped many things the moment I explained them. That was when I learned that many children from wealthy families study abroad, while others fought desperately for a place in college. Her parents had long since paved a smooth road to an elite university overseas. They said 1 year's tuition alone cost several 100,000 yuan. To me, that was an astronomical sum, because that year, I nearly had to leave school over 1,200 yuan. I almost dropped out. That year, seniors were suddenly charged an extra 2,000 yuan in tuition. My family could only scrape together 800. For the rest, Grandma worried all night without sleeping. I worked up all my courage and asked my homeroom teacher whether I could pay it later. My family was simply too poor. Seeing how difficult things were at home, my homeroom teacher organized a collection in class. That year, my classmates contributed their allowance money. Some gave 10 yuan, some 20, some 50. Their eyes were filled with pity. I stood at the podium, going to thank them one by one. That feeling of having my pride shattered is impossible to describe. In the end, Shang Xinqi angrily dragged me down from the podium. Then she forcefully returned every yuan the class had donated. Then she made up the rest of my tuition. "Fang Yuan, why didn't you tell me you needed money?" She cornered me and glared at me furiously. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want her pity. I didn't want to owe her. I wanted us to be equals, but I didn't know how to say it. In the end, I only muttered, "I'll pay you back as soon as I can." "Thank you, Shang Xinqi." I gave her a deep bow. That winter break, I found work at a fishing gear factory outside the city. My job was varnishing fishing rods. The fumes were overpowering. People said it would cause lung cancer if you did it too long. Most people avoided that job at all cost, but it paid 80 yuan a day. So plenty of people driven by hardship went to earn that money with their lives on the line. After that winter break, I finally paid Shang Xinqi back. Her expression was a little cold. "Fang Yuan, do you really hate owing me that much?" I had prepared so much to say. I, who had written perfect score essays, had never imagined there would come a day when words failed me. But then, 1,000 thoughts became just one sentence. After that incident, the class began to gossip. Many said Shang Xinqi liked me. Others said she simply pitied me. I was a little flustered, and even more afraid. If you asked whether I liked Shang Xinqi, all I could say was that I didn't dare think about it, much less dare to love her. I knew that she and I were worlds apart. There could never be a future for us. I began deliberately distancing myself from her. She seemed to be holding back anger too. Until one day, a boy sitting behind me threw a coin at me. His tone was utterly contemptuous. "Take it. A little handout for you." That boy liked Shang Xinqi. He couldn't stand her always hanging around me. When he saw me get angry, he said without a care, "Don't get angry. It was just a joke." At last, Shang Xinqi's anger erupted. "Are you even close to him? What makes you think you can joke with him?" She emptied her wallet and flung all the cash in the boy's face, mimicking his tone. "Don't get angry. It was just a joke." It was the first time I had seen Shang Xinqi lose her temper. Her fury was like a raging storm. In the end, both of their parents were called in. That was also the day Shang Xinqi's mother came to see me. She was still beautiful and gentle. "So you're the classmate who sits next to my daughter. Shang Xinqi has suddenly been making a fuss about attending university here in China. Do you know why?" I could only silently shake my head. Love should help the people become better, not make them give up. Please, help me talk her into it. She needs to think about her future. Later, I hesitated for a long time, then gathered my courage and went to find Shang Xinqi. "Shang Xinqi, go to university abroad." She looked surprised and a little disappointed. She asked me, "Fang Yuan, do you really want me to go?" I lowered my head. After hesitating for a long time, I spoke softly. Go see the world out there for me. 1,000 tangled thoughts filled my heart, but only a few words left my lips. I'll work hard to. I want to become the kapok tree beside the oak. Never look down on a poor young man. We'll each shine in our own way. Maybe, one day, we'll meet at the top. Okay, I promise. But we'll stay as we were before. You can't avoid me anymore. Okay. She reached up, stroked my head, and said, Fang Yuan, everything will be okay. From then on, my relationship with Shang seemed to grow closer. She loved chatting with me about everything under the sun, though most of the time, she was talking, and I was listening. Whenever I turned and met her open gaze, I'd instinctively lower my head and look away. She would chuckle softly. Blushing, I'd remind her, pay attention in class, Shang. When you're that close, you're bound to see each other's embarrassing moments. She was carefree by nature. Once, she stained her pants during her period without realizing it. After school, I hurriedly took off my school jacket and tied it around her waist. When she realized, she was embarrassed and flustered. Blushing, I bought her sanitary pads from a convenience store. There were so many brands, and they all looked different. I didn't know which kind to use. I scratched my head, explaining awkwardly. She took them, her face red. I'd heard girls should drink something hot during their periods, so I bought her a cup of milk tea. I handed her the prepared milk tea. Back then, it was Yulame milk tea, endorsed by Zhou Jilin. Blushing, she held the cup and drank with a contented smile. Then she tilted her head and asked, Fang Yuan, you know that line from Zhou Jilin? You're my Yulame. What does it mean? She looked straight at me. Softly, I said I didn't know. She laughed at me. The top student who scored 135 in Chinese doesn't even know that. I said nothing. Of course, I knew what it meant, because the sweet commercial had another line after that. So I'm milk tea. Then I can hold you in the palm of my hand. Shang stood beneath the setting sun, looking up at me as she asked, Fang Yuan, do you know which Zhou Jilin song I love most? She gazed into my eyes and slowly began to sing. Long ago, someone loved you for a long time. I had always walked alone beneath dark clouds, but in that moment, I suddenly found my clear sky. She asked if it sounded good. I said, it was beautiful. Shang waved her hand. With a proud little smile, she said, I was only fooling around today. I'll show you what I can really do sometime. The college entrance exam countdown kept shrinking, and the day we'd part drew closer. At the graduation gala, Shang wore an elegant gown, playing the piano, as she sang Sunny Day once more. Long ago, someone loved you for a long time, but the wind slowly carried you far away. We finally had one more day to love, but in the end, you still seemed to say goodbye. The story ended in goodbye, but some goodbyes are best said with a smile. Applause and cheers rose in waves from the audience. I sat quietly. Shang turned to look into the audience. Our eyes met in unspoken understanding. The corners of her lips lifted in a smile. My expression didn't change, but my heart was already in turmoil. Years later, I finally understood. That feeling when she looked at me was called the flutter of the heart. That summer, on the back of Shang Xinqi's English textbook, I wrote down the poem to the oak. She helped me register a QQ account. The password was SXCAI123626. She said she was afraid I'd forget her someday, so she put her name and birthday in my password. Later, I used that password for many of my accounts. She changed hers to the same one. We each hid an unspoken secret. The graduation day gathering. I didn't go. Everyone had to chip in 100 yuan, and I couldn't bear to spend it. When Shang found me, I had just gotten off work at the electronics factory. I had no choice. Tuition was too expensive. I had to work and earn money. She said she would be leaving in a few days. I was silent for a long time, then wished her a smooth journey. She smiled helplessly and said, Fang Yuan, you can't say, have a smooth journey to someone flying. Don't you know that? I'm sorry. I've never flown before. She smiled and patted my head. It's okay. There will be plenty of chances later. You're so smart. One day, you'll definitely be a billionaire. She always carefully protected my pride. I took an Ollie the Fox charm from my pocket, one I'd carried for days. She loved Ollie the Fox. Every night, I set aside a little time to make it bit by bit. I finally finished it. I just never had the courage to give it to her. It was cheap and ordinary. This is for you. I hope you don't mind it. You made it yourself. Shang Xinqi was stunned. I nodded shyly. This is amazing. It's one of a kind in the whole world. I'll treasure it forever. What I didn't tell Shang Xinqi was that the Ollie the Fox charm came as a pair. The other one was with me. At last, Shang Xinqi opened her arms and said to me, "Give me a hug." I breathed in her sun-warm scent and thought of that song, Sunny Day. Holding me, she whispered in my ear, "Fang Yuan, everything will be okay." Later, we each raced toward our own worlds. At opposite ends of the earth, we were each doing well. I think it would have been better if the story had ended there. More than friends, but not quite lovers. A love neither of us dared confess. The most intimate thing we'd ever done was that single hug before we parted. There would have been no later hysteria or bitter break. Our memories should have been sweet. When I turned 30, if I met Shang Xinqi again, and she told me she was getting married, maybe I'd happily give her a large cash gift and say, "Shang Xinqi, congratulations on your marriage. Thank you for looking after me back then. I've made a little money now, so here's a big cash gift for you." Maybe I'd even joke, "Old classmate, I used to have a crush on you, you know," instead of now, when I pretend to be happy and carefree, as I wish her a lifetime of happiness, then turn away, already sobbing uncontrollably. After crying, I silently wipe away my tears and tell myself, "It's okay. Go to bed early tonight. Things will be better when you wake up tomorrow." Put my mask back on, step out of the elevator, and head for the house he called home. "Where have you been? Why are you back so late? Do you know your old man has waited for you for hours?" Someone was sitting at the door. Fang Jihai, my biological father. A year earlier, the police contacted me, saying my father had been released from prison. The word father existed only in textbooks to me. They said a father's love was as steady as a mountain. But not every father in the world is like that. In my entire life, I could count the times I'd seen him on one hand. When I was little, the neighbors said my mother left after giving birth to me because we were poor. She abandoned me and left. My father spent all year drifting around outside. Only a few times during New Year did he ever come home. When debt collectors came to our door, he stole the tuition money Grandma had saved for me and called me a burden. Later, for roadside robbery and intentional assault, he was sentenced to 15 years. I thought 15 years of reform behind bars would change him. But some people are evil to their core. They will never change for the better. His harassment never stopped. Even when I called the police, there was little they could do. After all, he was my father. I had a legal duty to support him. "I recently found your stepmother. She says she wants 300,000 yuan before she'll let your brother acknowledge me." "Give me 300,000 yuan. Like a shameless thug, he blocked the doorway. "Why should I give you money? 300,000 yuan? Have you ever spent even 3 yuan on me? Because I'm your biological father. Because you bear the Fang name. If my mother hadn't paid for your schooling back then, would you be doing so well now? I'm old now. I need a son to support me until I die. Give me the money, and I won't bother you again." "I don't have the money. Even if I did, I wouldn't give you another cent." "Fine. I've got no shame anyway. If you're not ashamed, I'll stay right here and let all the neighbors see what a heartless son you are." His harassment, again and again, was like a roach I couldn't shake off. This chaotic, miserable life sometimes drove me nearly insane. I put in my earplugs, stroking Chuyi's soft, snow-white fur, and feeling the vibration of his purr. Chuyi was a stray cat I rescued 6 years ago. A white, silver-shaded cat. Back then, he was covered in skin infections and limped on one leg, letting out weak, dying cries. On the evening of the first day of Lunar New Year, he shivered violently from the cold. "You're homeless too, huh? How about we stay together? Then neither of us will be a child nobody wants." I treated him for a long time, and eventually, he recovered. Over the years, he grew rounder and rounder, but his legs still limped. Every day when I came home from work, no matter how late it was, Chuyi would limp over, meowing to greet me. When I went to sleep, I listened to his purring. No matter how much went wrong during the day, I felt healed. Over the years, he stayed with me from a rented apartment to a new home, from cheap cat food to imported canned meals. Step by step, we built our life together. A new boss always starts by asserting their authority. As soon as Shang Xinqi joined the company, she launched sweeping personnel reforms. The first to go were some cushy, redundant jobs and logistics. Overnight, Many people lost their jobs. Everyone was on edge, and it became the office gossip of the day. The new president Shang is gorgeous. A wealthy, beautiful heiress, no question. Forget it. Don't get your hopes up. Didn't you see Chairman Shang's interview in the business news? She's getting married. I saw President Shang's earlier interview. She said she likes men who are tall and slim, with quiet, reserved personalities. Enough talking. I'm going to work out and lose weight after work. An older co-worker suddenly cut in. Why do I feel like I've seen President Shang before? Everyone laughed. She has been abroad all this time. Maybe you saw her in a dream. No, really. She looks so familiar. I rubbed my forehead. I tapped the desk. All right, get back to work. He looked at me, then suddenly slapped the desk. I remember now. Brother Fang Yuan, your wife. I never forget a beautiful face. I saw a photo of your wife before. She looks exactly like President Shang. Your wife has that sweet, innocent girl next door look, while President Shang is a glamorous, commanding beauty. Brother Fang Yuan, could your wife be President Shang's younger sister? Everyone suddenly understood. It really does seem that way. Manager, show us your wife's photo again. Let's see if she's President Shang's long-lost sister. I panicked for a moment. I changed phones. That photo isn't on this one. So, when is your wife coming back home? I made an excuse and fled the office. I stared blankly at the ring on my ring finger. In truth, there was no partner. I had bought the ring myself. I lied and said I was married. First, it helped me avoid well-meaning matchmaking and relentless advances. Second, work often meant attending drinking dinners, where I received all kinds of suggestive signals. So I simply claimed to be married, to make life less troublesome. Besides, I would never marry in this lifetime. Later, my co-workers kept asking about her, so I lied that my spouse was abroad. They always clamored to see a photo. The only photo on my phone was an old one of Shang's Shinji. Good. She has someone she likes now. A poor guy like me was never worthy of her. That man must be exceptional. Manager Fang, get to the lobby now. A man claiming to be your father is making a scene at reception. The human resources manager sounded frantic on the phone. I hung up and rushed to reception. The lobby was already packed with onlookers. Many held up their phones to take pictures and videos. Fang Jihai sat on the floor like a shrew. He cried and wailed bitterly. I worked myself to the bone to put my son, Fang Yuan, through school. Now that he's successful, he won't take care of his own father. You all tell me, is that right? He dresses to the nines and lives in luxury every day. Yet he refuses to give his own father a single cent. What kind of child is that? Whispers spread through the crowd. I never thought Manager Fang was that kind of person. He always seemed decent. Who knew he would abandon his own father? Exactly. You can never judge a book by its cover. Someone who won't even care for their parents. How good can their character be? When Director Fang saw me arrive, he quickly called me over. Xiaoyu, you're finally here. Look at this mess. How could your father cause a scene at the company? This reflects terribly on us. Handle it, quickly. Hearing him, the onlookers all turned toward me. Fang Jihai cried and shouted even louder. For a moment, I was back in that high school PE class. I could not afford sneakers. My classmates eyed me strangely, looking at my worn-out canvas shoes. That humiliation from when I was 18. I thought I would never feel it again. Yet at 30, I still had not escaped it. And it was in front of the person I loved. Director Fang, does everyone have so little work to do? Shang Xinqi's voice rang out, firm and forceful. Seeing this, Director Fang quickly dispersed the crowd. When Fang Jihai saw everyone leave, he seemed at a loss. He could only keep loudly cursing Fang Yuan. You ungrateful son. You won't take care of your own father. Let your co-workers and bosses see just how heartless you are. I clenched my teeth, my fingers trembling, facing his deranged behavior. I did not understand why he treated me this way. I did not know Fang Yuan even had a father. Shang Xinqi looked down at Fang Jihai. Her gaze was icy. Who are you? I am his boss. If you have something to say it to me. Shang Xinqi signaled for her secretary to take him to the office. Call legal. She glanced up at me once, her expression unreadable. Don't leave. Wait for me outside. I did not know what Shang Xinqi said to Fang Jihai, but a vile man like him, if he could not get any money, would never let it go. Did he ask for money? I'll transfer it to you. In the CEO's office at Shang Group, I stood on the soft carpet, yet my face burned with humiliating heat. Without looking up, Shang Xinqi said. It's handled. Thank you, President Shang. I lowered my eyes. I thanked her uneasily. How does Manager Fang intend to thank me? What will you use? Shang Xinqi looked up, casually smiling as she studied me. I lowered my gaze, speechless. What did I have that could possibly repay her? Then plan my wedding, Manager Fang. I hope you won't disappoint me, but I have no experience planning weddings. The Health and Culture Festival, an event with tens of thousands of attendees. Manager Fang handles with ease. It's only a wedding. She said it dismissively. Besides, my preferences should be known best by Manager Fang. I trust you with it. Her red lips pressed together meaningfully. Fine. The next day, I met Shang Xinqi's boyfriend. He was young and handsome. They said he was the son of an influential official, with a master's degree from a prestigious overseas university. In every way, he was an excellent match for Shang Xinqi. Hello, brother. My name is Shiyiji. He introduced himself first, with a bright, outgoing personality. Hello, Mr. Shi. I am the planner handling your wedding with President Shang. I'm Fang Yuan, I replied with a polite smile. Brother, could you pour me a glass of water? Senior, I have no idea why you were in such a rush to call him over. He lazily glanced at Shang Xinqi beside him. Of course, please wait a moment. I had just stood up. Then Shang Xinqi's impatient voice rang out. Secretary Zhao, bring in some water. Shiyiji's eyes darted around. He secretly glanced at Shang Xinqi again. His eyes darted around, but look in them was unreadable. Mr. Shi, do you have any request for the wedding? Please tell me in detail. I'll prepare several options for you. Shiyiji pointed at himself. I do not have any requests. Anything is fine with me. I was momentarily speechless. After several seconds of silence, I looked at Shang Xinqi. Does President Shang have any specific requests then? Shang Xinqi's gaze deepened slightly. Her smiling eyes settled on me. Cover the venue in flowers. As for the wedding music, use choose Sunny Day. What do you think? Manager Fang. She once said our wedding would be covered in flowers. She also said our wedding music would be Sunny Day. She had not forgotten. I just was not the one standing beside her. I swallowed the ache in my heart. It sounds wonderful, I replied hoarsely. I'll arrange it right away. As for everything else, take your time planning the rest, Manager Fang. I have another meeting. She gave a faint, mocking smile. After saying that, she checked her watch, then left the office. How strange. Shiyiji watched Shang Xinqi's retreating figure. He muttered softly, Fang Yuan, let's go eat. I'm hungry. He turned to me, his face full of curiosity. What would Mr. Shi like to eat? I know a place. Shiyiji then took me to a roadside food stall. Malatang, Mr. Shi? Are you sure you want this? If you cannot eat it, just wait for me, brother. I've been craving this place for 2 years. I could not help laughing. It isn't just his place. I used to come here often too. I just never expected you to come to a place like this. He kept eating with great relish. You have no idea. Food abroad is like pig slop. This Malatang stall has been here for years. My sister never used to let me eat too much of it. I often came here behind her back. Mr. Shi, do you really have no request for the wedding? I could not help asking. Everyone should dream of having an unforgettable wedding. Brother, this is a marriage arranged for business. Don't you like Shang Xinqi? I could not help asking again. Why would I like her? Shiyiji answered indifferently. I just thought the two of you suited each other. I was being presumptuous. Sorry, I said awkwardly. I gave an embarrassed smile. Yeah, Shang Xinqi is great in every way. She comes from a good family and makes good money. She's gorgeous and highly educated. But do you like her? Shiyiji suddenly looked at me. His eyes were smiling. Please do not joke. How could I ever be worthy of her? But he shook his head with a smile. Brother, you two knew each other before, right? My heart suddenly tightened. How did you know? I guessed. The way you look at someone you love cannot be hidden. Shiyiji's eyes curved with a smile. Being compatible does not mean you will fall in love. And being in love does not mean you are meant to be. Let me tell you a secret. The person I love has a terrible temper and loves hitting people. I was stunned. I am such a catch. So I should be good enough for him, right? Yet he is just watching me marry someone else. Shiyiji still smiled as if it did not matter. Yeah, maybe in the adult world, whether you love each other, whether you can be together, and whether you can marry, are three entirely different things. Sigh. I'm suddenly in a terrible mood. Brother, come drink with me. Shiyiji tugged at my sleeve and took me to a bar. I know this place best. Open a bottle of Ace of Spades. Bring me 10 karaoke hostesses. Shiyiji clearly knew his way around. With the pulsing music, he swirled his glass and draped an arm around me, pointing at the row of girls. Which one do you like, brother? Pick anyone. My scalp prickled. I'd better not. He pointed casually. You too. Keep him company. Sure thing, brother. No, thanks. Kids these days really know how to have fun. Shiyiji drank glass after glass. His tolerance was terrible, so he was drunk in no time. I asked him over and over where he lived. Drunkenly, he said he had no home. Helpless, I had no choice but to call Shang Shinchi to pick him up. Shiyiji grabbed a girl beside him and danced wildly. He was having the time of his life. I did not know what to do. In the end, a tall girl appeared out of nowhere. Her features were icy. Her commanding presence was terrifying. Frowning, she looked at the drunken Shiyiji making a scene, then kicked him to the floor. Yet she turned and smiled politely at me. I'm his sister. He's going home now. She turned to the row of girls. Take good care of the guest. They answered in unison, yes, boss. Brother, let me toast you. Brother, you're so aloof. I forced myself to endure it, completely at a loss. You really know how to have fun. Only 10. Shang Shinchi had appeared without my noticing. Her low, teasing laughter echoed through the charged atmosphere. I panicked a little. Mr. Shi was taken away by his sister. He could not possibly think I had ordered those 10 girls, could he? Shang Shinchi strode over on her long legs and sat directly on my lap. She looped an arm around my neck, leaning close, her eyes meeting mine. That is not his sister. She's his ex-girlfriend. Shang Shinchi slowly moved closer, until her scorching breath brushed my face. Fang Yuan, why don't we have an affair? She smiled softly. I heard you found a replacement for me. Didn't you say you didn't like my type? Care to explain? I avoided her gaze. She raised a hand and cupped my face. The original is back. When are you getting divorced? I gritted my teeth and said quietly, I'm not getting divorced. She gave a cold laugh. She yanked the ring from my ring finger and threw it away. I was horrified. Shang Shinchi, what are you doing? If you're not married, why wear this piece of junk? Afraid I still can't forget our past and will keep pestering you? She wore a mocking smile. She stared at me coldly. Of course not. Why would President Shang now do something so absurd? That's right. I've done more than enough absurd things. She gave a self-mocking laugh, then lowered her head and kissed me. She kissed and bit me roughly, as though venting her frustration. A dull ache stirred in my heart. My eyes grew hotter and hotter. She kissed me while crying. Fang Yuan, all these years, have you ever thought of me? No, I said. But how could I not have? For all those years, she filled both my dreams and waking life. I often had the same dream. In it, when I was 30, I met Shang Shinchi. She had married a blonde, blue-eyed man. They had an adorable mixed-race child. At the corner of the street, we ran into each other without warning. Her child asked her mom, who is that man? He's been staring at you. Shang Shinchi glanced at me and calmly said, I think he was one of mom's old classmates, but I do not remember clearly. Mister, what was your name? Fang Yuan, in your heart, what was I to you? Shang Shinchi fixed me with an icy stare. What was wrong with me? Why did you treat me that way? Why did you turn around and fall for someone else? I lowered my head, unable to hold back my tears any longer. Shang Shinchi looked at me, her eyes red. Fang Yuan, why couldn't you just come for me? I looked at 30-year-old Shang Shinchi. A voice sounded beside me. It said, Fang Yuan, if you want to be happy, do not see things too clearly. Be brave one more time. But another voice said, Fang Yuan, you have to understand. There is no future left for you and this person. There never will be in this lifetime. I'm sorry. I don't love you anymore. Shang Shinchi, it's raining outside. Sunny days now exist only as a few crisp autumn moments in my dreams. I would buy osmanthus wine and sail with you again. But it could never feel like our youth. Young love is a rose blooming in the mountains. For one racing heartbeat, you can risk everything. Beautiful and pure. But I'm 30 this year. Late bloomer says that when you're young, there is nothing wrong with loving recklessly. But when you mature, there is nothing wrong with letting go. It was my first flutter of love. The only time in my youth I was truly brave. A love that led nowhere, and a regret I could never let go. When we got together, and when we broke up, there was no melodramatic scandal. If I had to say why, we loved each other, but we were not right together. After college, Shang often messaged me on QQ. We were just 12 hours apart. It was daytime for me, and night for her. She would always say, Fang Yuan, you're 12 hours ahead of me. You see the moon first. In 12 hours, we'll be looking at the same moon on the same day. Please tell the moon that I love you. She often left messages on my QQ page. She'd say, Fang Yuan, I went to Niagara Falls today. It was absolutely spectacular. She'd say, Fang Yuan, I went to the Empire State Building today. From the top, you can overlook all of New York. She'd say, Fang Yuan, when you start making money, we'll go on a shopping spree on Fifth Avenue. She'd say, Fang Yuan, I rode in a hot air balloon today. It was quite romantic. It just felt like something was missing. Back then, I spent most of my time either working or studying. The cafeteria's free soup ran out after 12:30. I kept my mobile data switched off until midnight on the last day of the month. My restaurant job paid 6 yuan an hour. I got off work at 9 every night. We were at opposite ends of the earth, in different worlds, each working hard. I thought things would stay that way forever. Until, during one call with Shang, my roommate suddenly said, Fang Yuan, I heard Liu Ryan likes you. And Shang happened to hear it. Fang Yuan, who is Liu Ryan? Shang asked. She's our class academic representative. Is she pretty? She's all right. Liu Ryan and I had barely exchanged a few words. All I knew was that we were both students from low-income families. I heard she came from the countryside and had lost her father as a child. Sometimes we'd run into each other at the cheapest cafeteria counter or buy the free soup. I worked part-time and sometimes rushed to class. She would save me a seat. Fang Yuan, do you like her? No, I don't. Then do you like me? I like you quite a lot. No, I mean I like you very, very much. Would you consider pursuing me? Shang That sudden confession left me distracted all day. Then, the next day, she actually showed up at my school. She said a confession felt more sincere face-to-face. Fang Yuan, will you pursue me? I'm very easy to win over. As long as you say you like me, I'll be your girlfriend. Shang stood in the sunlight, glowing brilliantly. I said, Shang I like you. I like you so much. It was the one and only time in my life that I had been fearless enough to risk everything. She happily ran straight into my arms. Back then, hand in hand, we walked through every corner of campus. On a deserted path, I took the chance to lower my head and kiss her lips. She pretended to stay calm, but blushed all the way to her ears. And so began our long-distance relationship across borders. Sometimes she could be childish. If I did not reply for a long time, she would flood me with messages, asking if I had another excuse to brush her off. Helplessly, I explained that I was working or in class. She said she was angry and wanted me to make it up to her. But I did not know how to comfort someone. With a mischievous smile, she'd say, call me baby, and I'll forgive you. I had always been stiff and dull. Every time, she would tease me until I gave in. She was quick to get angry, but easy to soothe. She understood how hard things were for me and protected my pride. She knew I would not accept expensive gifts, so she always sent me affordable things instead. When she had time, she would fly back to see me. We held hands, hugged, and kissed. But when it came to going all the way, I never went that far. What man would not want the girl he loved? I was just afraid. Afraid I could not give her a future. Afraid I would hold her back. Afraid she would fall too deeply for me. She would always get angry about it, thinking I did not love her enough. That year, she saw that my shoes had worn through. On my birthday, she gave me a pair of shoes. The packaging was entirely in a foreign language. I did not recognize the brand. She said it was a birthday gift, and not expensive at all, but I could never bring myself to wear them. That year, Grandma suddenly fell. She broke a bone and needed surgery. Even after scraping everything together, we were still short 3,200 yuan. Grandma said, Yuan, let's not treat it. When people get old, they are supposed to die. I reassured her, treatment won't cost us a thing. Do not worry. Grandma is going to live to 100. After I graduate, I'll let you live in a big house, take you to eat delicious food, and travel all over the country with you. She said, all right, my Yuan is the best. Grandma will wait to enjoy the good life you give me. That day, I hesitated for a long time. Before calling Shang I asked if she could lend me 3,200 yuan. I would pay her back once my scholarship came next month. At that moment, everything I had clung to for years seemed to vanish in an instant. Shang Xinqi immediately transferred 10,000 yuan to me, asking if it was enough. Stubbornly and foolishly, I accepted only 3,200 yuan. Gently, Shang Xinqi said, Fang Yuan, you're my boyfriend now, and one day, you'll be my husband. You'll have to earn money to support me, understand? I'll manage all the household money. You'll have to ask me for every bit of spending money. Do you understand? Today, you're simply getting a taste of it early. I know you are independent, but I cannot bear to watch you suffer either. Do you understand? Because of what she said. After hanging up, I cried like a fool. The next day, she appeared out of the blue. She was suddenly back in my world. That time, we went to the hospital to see Grandma together. She waited outside the operating room with me, holding my hand tightly. Grandma's surgery went smoothly. She looked at Shang Xinqi and smiled with relief. She said, Yuan, now that someone will take care of you, I can die in peace. Shang Xinqi said, Grandma, you cannot leave. You have to watch us get married and have babies, then help us raise them. Grandma burst out laughing. She said, all right, then I'll live a few more years, long enough to see you get married and have babies. But in the end, she never saw it, nor did she get to enjoy the good life I promised her. Then, on one ordinary day, she collapsed in the street. She was still holding the shrimp she'd just bought. The shrimp were still wriggling, but she had stopped breathing. Her heart had stopped. The doctor said it was heart disease. He asked if I had never noticed any symptoms before. All I could do was shake my head helplessly. What illness had she been hiding? She always endured it without telling me. Why was I so useless? Why did I never notice anything? She raised me by collecting recyclables and put me through school. Why couldn't you wait just one more year? In one more year, I would have graduated and started earning money. I could have taken care of you. The doctor looked at me, shook his head, and said, young man, call your parents and make the funeral arrangements. The morgue fee was 300 yuan per day. The funeral transport cost 600 yuan per trip. An urn cost over 1,000 yuan, not to mention cremation and every other funeral expense. In that moment, I realized I could not even give Grandma a proper funeral. A classmate who had once worked with me at a restaurant told me about a job where I could make money fast. He said he was working part-time in a private club, keeping clients company and singing for them. He could make several hundred, even over 1,000 yuan a day. He said he could get me in, but I would have to do more than just sing. That day, Shang Xinqi's mother suddenly contacted me. She invited me to her home. I changed into clothes that were still fairly new and put on the shoes I had never brought myself to wear. There was none of the melodrama you see on television. Her mother was as gentle as ever. She showed me around their home. It was my first time entering that villa. I knew only that Shang Xinqi came from a well-off family, not how wealthy they truly were. Her handbags covered an entire wall of the dressing room. The price of each one could cover my living expenses for years. Those handbags cost enough to buy several homes for an ordinary family. The bags she carried when she was with me, I had thought were already expensive. I never knew she had deliberately chosen her cheapest ones. Fang Yuan, I know you're dating Shang Xinqi. But, do you know this? Shang Xinqi keeps flying back home to see you. She's even failing her classes because of it. I am sorry. I was so nervous that I could only mumble my apologies. You are both still students. Your studies should come first. After finishing her bachelor's degree, Shang Xinqi is supposed to go to graduate school. And with you here at home, she is always worrying about you. Shang Xinqi's mother looked at me gently. I heard your father is still in prison, and Grandma is the only family you have at home. If you ever need money, you can ask me, or you can ask Shang Xinqi. Thank you, but I don't need it. I thanked her awkwardly. She smiled at me. You're a smart boy. No wonder. Shang Xinqi has stayed with you all these years. My daughter has been especially kind since she was little. I remember when she was young, whenever she saw a stray animal on the road, she had to bring it home. Eventually, 2 rooms in our home were devoted to the cats and dogs she rescued. Shang Xinqi's mother's gaze swept over the shoes on my feet. She froze for a moment. Shang Xinqi gave you these shoes, didn't she? I do not remember how I walked out of the Shang family's villa that day. All I knew was, the more gently Mrs. Shang smiled, the more ashamed I felt. I looked them up. They were a limited edition pair. Online, they sold for 30,000 yuan. Later, I sold those shoes. I had only worn them once, but the buyer said that still made them secondhand. He offered only 12,000 yuan. I used the money from the shoes to pay for Grandma's funeral. Shang Xinqi called again and again for days. When I finally answered, she was furious. Fang Yuan, where have you been these past few days? Do you have any idea how worried sick I've been? After holding it in for so many days, I choked up, not knowing how to tell her. Fang Yuan, what's wrong? What happened? Shang Xinqi, I don't have a home anymore. It's nothing. I just miss you a little. Later, she flew over again from the other side of the world. She said, Fang Yuan, I miss you too. I want to see you, she said. I answered her, Shang Xinqi, don't come anymore. You need to focus on your studies. That night, she booked a hotel room. Usually, I would quietly sleep beside her until dawn. But that night, after her shower, she lay naked in my arms. Fang Yuan, you want me, don't you? Your body cannot lie. Holding myself back was agony. I did not dare look at her, but she only pressed further, kissing me. I want to give myself to you. Don't overthink it. Things will only get better for us. We'll get married and have a beautiful baby. And you'll make lots and lots of money. The hotel room's king-size bed was soft, like lying on cotton. All those long-suppressed feelings turned into desire. I could not hold back any longer. I took the lead and kissed her. Lost in passion, I called her name over and over, as though it had carved itself into my very bones. That night, I held the girl I loved and stayed awake until morning. When Shang Xinqi woke up, she shyly hid beneath the covers. Laughing, I pulled her back out. Why are you up so early? She asked bashfully. Then, blushing, she held me tighter. Fang Yuan, when did you start liking me? I reached up and smoothed her sleep-tousled hair. Probably when you played the piano and sang Sunny Day. She looked a little unhappy. That late? I liked you much earlier than that. How much earlier? I'll tell you on our wedding day. She rubbed her soft head against the crook of my neck. For our wedding, I want the entire hall covered in flowers. And can our entrance music be Sunny Day? Sure, do you want a traditional Chinese wedding or a Western one? I think I'd look gorgeous in a red bridal gown. But I also want to wear a white wedding dress and watch you get down on one knee for me. Then I'll tell you, I do. Shang Xinqi went on, painting a picture of our wedding. I remembered every detail perfectly. But in the end, I broke that promise. The next day, someone else inexplicably received my financial aid. Shang Xinqi's mother came to see me. She said Shang Xinqi planned to return home after finishing her bachelor's degree, but her family wanted her to attend graduate school abroad. She said she could give me a sum of money, or send me abroad to study. Her only condition was that I stop holding her daughter back. She still wore that gentle expression. I would rather she had screamed at me. In the end, she asked me one question. She's been a princess since childhood. If you truly love her, can you bear to make her suffer with you? She was right. I was just a poor nobody. How long was I going to hold her back? Even if I worked myself to death for years, could I afford even one of her handbags? Shang Xinqi, it seems I cannot marry you after all. When did I start backing away? Was it the day I sold those shoes? Or perhaps even earlier, the day I asked you to lend me money? What little pride I had was already ashes. I saw you off at the airport. It was a brilliantly sunny day. I asked, if we broke up, would you forget me? You said you would. You'd find some handsome blonde, blue-eyed foreigner, and make me regret it. I said, that Ollie doll I gave you back then. I had one too. You said you knew they were a pair. I said, on the back of your English textbook. I wrote you a poem called To the Oak. You said you found it later. You said, you fool. I knew all along. You said, I'd turn and say goodbye to you, then let you disappear into the crowd. On the most ordinary day, I gave up the most important person in my life. After that, I slowly began pulling away from her. I stopped answering her calls and replying to her messages. She began losing her temper, and we fought. Then I told her, Shang Xinqi, maybe we should break up. She could not understand what she'd done wrong, or why we had to separate. Fang Yuan, you idiot. I'm mad at you. Couldn't you just comfort me? Why do we have to break up? There was a guy in my dorm who often turned people down. He'd always say, you're not my type. So I told Shang Xinqi, you're not my type. She said, Fang Yuan, that's bullshit. We've been together for 2 years, and now you say I'm not your type. She waited outside my dorm all night. I sat by the window and watched her all night. I never understood the heartache described in books. That night, I felt it for real. My chest was so tight I could barely breathe. Every breath sent sharp waves of pain through my heart. In the end, her mother came and took her away. Life is long. Shang Xinqi, we probably won't meet again. Shang Xinqi used to love romance novels. She said she hated romance leads who refused to speak their minds. She said people like that didn't deserve love. They deserved every bit of suffering they got. But how could someone who felt worthless to the bone dare to speak up? Especially when she was such a wonderful person. Even if heartbreak destroyed me in the end, I would accept it. Yes, I didn't deserve to be loved. Love grew wild as weeds, then receded like the tide. Gradually, I came to understand that regret is life's normal state. I would live well, then slowly forget you. But memories clung to me like a nightmare. Later, I realized that staying busy was the best cure for everything. Keeping busy, staying disciplined, moving forward. Money healed me better than anything else. So all I could do was work hard and make money. For the first few years after graduation, I lived in a crowded shared rental that cost 500 yuan a month. I stayed at my first job for 2 years. It was already past 9 that night. Because I refused to drink with the client, my boss said, "Fang Yuan, don't come in tomorrow." I couldn't bring myself to pay for a cab. I waited for a bus in the freezing wind for half an hour, only to realize that in the winter cold, the last bus had long since gone. I walked alone through the late-night streets, with nowhere to go. All those windows glowing with light, yet not one belonged to me. An adult's breakdown can happen in an instant. "Fang Yuan," a voice suddenly called from beside me. I was crouched on the ground. I looked up and saw Liu Ryan standing beside me. "It really is you. What's wrong?" she asked me, somewhat shyly. "It's nothing. I missed the last bus." I felt a little embarrassed. "Do you live far from here? How about I take you home?" She was riding an electric scooter and seemed a little embarrassed too. "I hope you don't mind. It's Christmas, and cabs are hard to find around here." After that we exchanged contact information. She often messaged to say hello. As time passed, even someone as oblivious as me understood how she felt. I said, "I'm sorry, but I don't want a relationship." She asked if it was because of my former girlfriend. I didn't answer. She said she'd had a crush on me for a long time back then, but she had been too insecure to lift her head. She never dared confess. If possible, could we try being friends? She was in her second year of graduate school then, with plenty of free time. She was not good with words. She always showed her feelings through actions. She'd cook delicious meals and bring them to my office. She'd even line up to buy the milk tea girls loved. By then, there were more and more kinds of milk tea, and they tasted better and better. It always made me think of the person who drank Yulame milk tea beside me that year, the one who sang Sunny Day to me. She said, "Fang Yuan, I really like you." Until one day, her mother ran into me. She subtly asked around about me, then tearfully begged me to stay away from her daughter. She said my father was a criminal, and being with her daughter would ruin her. Her daughter was meant to get a secure job after graduation. Someone from a family like mine. No family would accept someone like me. Later, I finally understood this. At its core, life is something you live alone. Maybe adulthood means carrying your own joy and sorrow. So, all these years, I turned myself into a lone wolf. I desperately made money, and desperately worked on myself. I learned how to socialize for business, how to drink, and how to exchange empty pleasantries. I became smooth and worldly, adept at pleasing everyone. Gradually, I became someone I hated. The most peaceful part of every day was opening my door and seeing Chuyi limp toward me. I'd listen to his purring, holding him as I drifted to sleep. His soft little paws would cling to me while he purred softly. His adorable little face always reminded me of someone. "Good boy. In a few days, I'll buy you the most expensive canned food." I squeezed his paw gently, but Chuyi was growing old and eating less and less. As I stroked his head, I told him everything would be all right. One day after work, I ran into Shang Xinqi's mother. We had not met in years. Time seemed to have forgotten her. She was surprised to see me too. "Fang Yuan, you've changed so much." "You haven't changed much at all," I replied. "Over the years, I've grown more mature and more capable." She still smiled so gently. "Shang Xinqi has changed a lot too. But some things have not changed. All these years, she studied hard, worked hard to earn money, and everything has been getting better." Later, I told my daughter, "You're almost 30. It's time to find someone to marry." She said, "Mom, you pick whoever you like." Everything had been fine. But then she changed her mind again. "Shang Xinqi's rebellion all these years has been because of you. I heard your father recently caused a scene at the company. Shang Xinqi gave him 300,000 yuan, Fang Yuan. Can you understand a mother's feelings? This time, I did not feel inferior. I smiled and held my head high. I'm sorry, Annie, but I can't understand. I've never had a mother. I cannot relate to your feelings, but I have never blamed you. When I was 16, you stroked my head and told me to study hard. You said things would get better and better. I am deeply grateful to you. You gave me enough respect and gave me hope for life. I am no longer 18 or 22. I am 30. You do not have to tactfully protect my pride anymore. I know what you mean. Don't worry. I won't ruin her. Many years ago, another mother warned me to. I'll pay the money back. To Shang Xinqi, I can afford that much. She's the person I least want to owe. This time, I remained calm and composed. But one sentence from Shang Xinqi's mother plunged me into an icy abyss. 10 years ago, she miscarried because of you. 10 years later, she's still so obsessed with you. How much longer are you going to drag her down? I transferred 300,000 yuan to the company's finance department. I bought a pair of high heels glittering with tiny diamonds. I asked the receptionist to deliver them, along with my resignation letter to Shang Xinqi. They're beautiful. Are they glass slippers? The young receptionist couldn't help admiring them. I remembered how, when I was 18, Shang Xinqi gave me a pair of sneakers. She tilted her head up and said, Fang Yuan, one day, you have to give me a pair of glass slippers. She was a princess and deserved every beautiful thing in the world. I didn't drive. I just wanted to take a long walk. Whenever I was sad, I'd walk the streets. I'd watch the passing traffic, the busy crowds, the city's towers and neon lights. I'd feel as small as an ant. Once my feet were tired, my heart would feel much lighter. A mall screen displayed Valentine's Day confessions. Anonymous message. The person I love already loved me when she was 20. As for whose wife she was at 25, or whose mother she is at 30, I wish her happiness. Ha, Fu Xinqi. Then I wish you happiness. But I don't want your blessing. And I don't want to wish you happiness either. Fu Xinqi's voice drifted from behind me. Fang Yuan, you can settle money clearly. But what about what we mean to each other? I stared at her blankly. The night breeze gently stirred the hem of her trench coat. Fu Xinqi, in the end, I don't deserve your love. You were pregnant that year. Was I? I asked, fighting back the tears threatening to break free. Yes, we were supposed to have a child. She clenched her fists tightly, her voice trembling. The day after we broke up, my stomach suddenly started hurting. That night, I had a dream. I dreamed our baby asked me, Mommy, do you not want me? If you don't want me, I'll go find another mommy. The doctor said the baby couldn't be saved. I was having a chemical miscarriage. She sobbed so hard she could barely speak, her whole body shaking. Fang Yuan, no. It's that I didn't want our baby. I thought, even if we weren't together, I still wanted to have the baby and raise them. Give them the very best of everything. But like their father, our baby was so frugal. They only cost me 247 yuan in medical fees. Fu Xinqi held me, her eyes red from crying. She held back every sound, but her tears soaked my shoulder. I know you so well. Of course, I knew you had your reasons. I found out later. I learned that grandma had died. My Fang Yuan must have been in so much pain back then. I'm sorry, Xinqi. I sold those shoes. It's okay. You know, I'm easy to soothe. Just call me baby, and I'll forgive you. I've been waiting for you on the other side all this time. Waiting for your wings to grow strong. Waiting for you to grow up, be brave, and run to me. Fu Xinqi held me tightly. My phone number has never changed, but you never came looking for me. Eventually, I couldn't bear it anymore. So I thought, then I'll go win you back. In the winter of 2017, I came back to find you. But someone was by your side then. She brought you meals, quietly waited for you to finish work, and had eyes only for you. Why didn't I have the courage to ask you then? Whether you'd fallen for someone else, whether you'd forgotten me? Look how pathetic I was. I was nearly 30. When I saw a live stream of your event online, you were wearing a suit, confident and composed, speaking smoothly to the camera. That day, I booked a flight home. I suddenly wanted to take one more gamble. At some point, I had already dissolved into sobs. Fu Xinqi wiped away my tears, watching me quietly. Fang Yuan, if we can, let's fall for each other one more time. I gathered up my overwhelming emotions and sat in silence for a long time. Finally, I whispered, Fu Xinqi, let it go. Don't you love me anymore? I love you very much, but I can't ruin your life. I gradually came to understand what that saying meant. For adults, falling in love comes with a price tag. It means weighing the gains and losses. Even if you love someone, if there can be no future, you force yourself to cut that love out of your heart. Those impulses to pursue what you know is impossible eventually become 3 words. Let it go. Fu Xinqi, I've let you go back into the crowd again. Fu Xinqi, thank you for coming into my life. I won't hold you back anymore. Fang Zhihai was waiting outside my door again. You found such a wealthy partner. You think 300,000 yuan is enough to buy me off and cut ties. I won't accept that. It has to be at least 3 million yuan. With a numb smile, I opened the door. Then your wishful thinking has come to nothing. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. And don't expect another cent from me. You've already ruined my life. If I could go back in time, I would tell that so-called mother of mine to abort me, never give birth to me. The wounds inflicted by one's family of origin sometimes never heal, even in a lifetime. I let Fang Zhihai keep cursing outside my door. Chuyi, Daddy's home. But little Snowball did not limp over to greet me. On the balcony, I found him curled up asleep. Except he never woke up again. Have you left me too? Just like the child I never knew about that year. Now I'll have to wander alone. I have no home again. That night, I swallowed one sleeping pill after another. Still, I could not fall asleep. In the end, I was too exhausted, and I think I finally closed my eyes. Through the haze, I heard someone say, Fang Yuan, don't sleep. Wake up, please. Let me sing to you, okay? Long ago, there was someone who loved you for so long, but the rain kept falling, driving us farther and farther apart. As she sang, it sounded like she began to cry. I think I had a dream. When I woke, I saw her reddened eyes. Fu Xinqi, I'm sorry. I just couldn't sleep. I think I'm sick. She was passionate, yet distant, confident, yet insecure. Sometimes she broke down. Sometimes she healed herself. If you asked her why, she did not know herself. She always imagined the worst possible outcome. So, whatever the ending, she could accept it calmly. She seemed to have lost the ability to love and be loved. She trapped herself within walls of her own making. The clarity was agonizing. I want to save her too. Fang Yuan, won't you even let me save you? A child who has been abandoned. How could she dare hope to be someone's favorite or exception? Be braver. Fang Yuan will never be younger than we are today. She stroked my head and said, Fang Yuan, things will only get better